Breaking news here on Texans Today on an early Monday morning, a victory Monday morning for your Houston Texans. The Texans have made a trade with the Cleveland Browns for tackle Cam Robinson. They're sending him to Cleveland in exchange. Well, we'll get to that in just a moment, but first victory Monday of the year. Let me see those dubs down in the comment section. If you woke up feeling a little bit better today, if you woke up even just a little bit of hope around this Houston Texans team, drop a dub down in the comments section. We had over 60,000 people in our live watch party yesterday. Thank you to each and every one of you who showed up, who was there, who was representing H-Town. So thank you all. Drop a dub down in the comments section. It's Victory Monday. All right, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Let's break down this trade with the Texans and Cam Robinson. And it was an absolute doozy, I'll tell you that, guys, because I was expecting the Texans to trade Cam Robinson, but I didn't think it would be for, one, this little, and then two, I didn't know necessarily that it would happen this soon. I thought we would maybe, get closer to the trade deadline, see where teams are at, but I guess the Browns needed tackle help enough to where the Texans were willing to trade with them. Obviously, the Texans and Browns have a pretty decent trade rapport in the past. I think they've made a couple deals before, but the final deal is the Browns are getting Cam Robinson and a 2027 7th-round pick. The Texans, in exchange, get a 2027 6th-round pick. So, like I said, not a ton for Cam Robinson, and as we're looking at the numbers here, it's a great deal for Cleveland, right? You get a starting caliber tackle. The Texans, they paid most of his salary, the $12 million in a signing bonus. So the Browns only owe him his $2 million base salary. Very, very easy contract for the Cleveland Browns. I thought the Texans would maybe be able to get a 5th-round pick for Cam Robinson, but hey, it's neither here nor there. I think this trade in particular for the Houston Texans after a win against the Tennessee Titans, it means three things. Three things in particular, and I'm going to break that down here on the show. First off, I think it obviously means that the Texans feel really good about Ursery. They feel good about the rookie left tackle, the 2nd-round pick out of Minnesota, and obviously they've started him throughout the season, so what's not to like around the rookie so far? Obviously, he's had his ups and downs, a little bit of a roller coaster the first couple weeks. Obviously against the Jags, let up that, kind of pressure that led to the last interception. But he's a rookie. It's learning moments, and I think the Texans really like the trajectory of where Ursery can go as a starting left tackle in this league. It's not easy to start day one at the left tackle spot, the blind side for your quarterback, and I think Ursery's done a decent job through the first 4 weeks of the year, and I'm hoping he progressively gets better and better as the weeks go on. I'd really like to see what 79 can do there out there on the field, and obviously the coaching staff and everybody around this Texans organization felt like he was a better option at left tackle than Cam Robinson, or that Cam Robinson maybe was slightly better than Ursery, but not enough to where you'd play the older veteran than the younger rookie to let him get experience and eventually get better than Cam Robinson. Because I think everybody in this organization, all Texans fans included, believe that Ursery can be a good left tackle and can one day be one of the really good left tackles in the NFL if he continues to take strides throughout the year. I think that's a big factor on why this Texans team, felt comfortable making the trade. I think the fact that Ursery's been playing decent enough and, has made it to where they don't really need Cam Robinson on the back end. Number two, and I actually noticed this yesterday in the win up against the Titans, which, actually, I'll get to that in just one moment. But today's show, I couldn't do today's show if it wasn't for our amazing sponsor over at Prize Picks. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. It's super simple. All you do is pick 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money today. And speaking of today, we actually have 2 games on tonight. And as I scroll on my phone going to my Prize Picks app, I'm going to look at maybe some of the lineups that you could put in for tonight's Monday Night Football matchup. As I'm looking at it right now, let's look at some of the projections together. As maybe a little bit of a dirty phone case on my end. Don't roast me in the comment section. All right, Bo Nix, 220.5 pass yards. You could go more, you could go less. J.K. Dobbins, which I have him on my fantasy team, 65.5 rush yards. You can go more or less on that. Justin Fields, zero point 0.5 passing touchdowns. Can he just throw one touchdown? Tyreek Hill, 0.5 rushing or receiving touchdowns. As well, Devon Achane, 54.5 rush yards. Breece Hall, 57.5 rush yards. I mean, I think there's a lot of good projections to be played tonight to put in your lineup, and they have deals all throughout the week too, so don't miss any of those with our friends over at Prize Picks. And Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this football season. They put their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. They offer Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account. So get started today. Download the app. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, let's look at number 2, the second reason why I think this trade went down. And as I mentioned, I noticed something yesterday in that Texans-Titans game, and maybe you did too. They went 6 offensive linemen. They went heavy sets, and they brought in Blake Fisher, who I've been a huge, I'll say it, Blake Fisher basher this offseason. I've been, really down on him. I've heard a lot of things around Blake Fisher over the past year, and not a lot of them have been so great. So maybe he's going in the right direction. Maybe this coaching staff, maybe something clicked with Blake Fisher to where, he's getting better. He's progressing. He's still really young too. They drafted him, I believe he was 22 years old out of Notre Dame, the second round pick last year after they took Kamari Lassiter. I think things are starting to click a little bit more, and they feel more comfortable with Fisher being the backup swing tackle for this team, meaning they didn't really need Cam Robinson anymore for that role. If either the tackles goes down, maybe it is Blake Fisher who steps in because, during the preseason, during training camp, it looked like this team was totally out on Blake Fisher. I thought they might trade Blake Fisher over trading Cam Robinson. Now, obviously Blake Fisher, a lot younger on a rookie deal, so those things working a lot more in his favor. But I also think you see him getting game action. He's getting game reps, so the coaching staff obviously feels more comfortable with Blake Fisher. And I didn't mind the Texans going with some heavy looks there, having Blake Fisher as the 6th offensive lineman, lining up in that tight end spot next to Ursery. And even on, I wouldn't even mind that on some pass plays. If the Texans need some extra pass protection, instead of putting an extra running back in there, instead of putting an extra tight end, why not say, hey, we know our O-line isn't as great in pass protection up against stunts, this, that, or the other. Why not put Blake Fisher in there at a tight end spot as the 6th lineman and have some extra protection? The Lions do it all the time. They have Dan Skipper as a 6th offensive lineman, and they use him in a lot of different, not only goal line, but a lot of different formations to have an extra lineman out there to block rather than having a tight end like a Dalton Schultz or a Harrison Bryant be that, extra blocker, or maybe a running back like a Gumbawale. I think Blake Fisher, they feel a lot more comfortable with him being a swing tackle for this team. So I think that is another reason that kind of led the Texans to say, hey, we don't need Cam Robinson. We can go ahead and trade him, even though, like I said, I didn't love the trade compensation for him. Just a late round pick swap in 2027. It is what it is. The Texans, they get rid of a contract of somebody who they feel like they didn't need on this team. It also opens up a roster spot on this squad for the 53-man roster for the Texans to maybe add, another safety. Justin Simmons is still out there. There's some guys that are still out there. I don't know if the Texans have enough money to sign any of these big-name free agents, but that is to be worth noted. It does open up a roster spot. And the third reason why I think this trade went down, and the third kind of explanation for this trade, could Trent Brown's health be trending in the right direction? The Texans signed the former Patriots, Raiders offensive tackle. He's spent time, in multiple different systems, a massive human being. If you've seen any pictures of him at practice, he him and Ursery definitely stand above the rest when it comes to height and size. Trent Brown is a massive, massive person. And we saw during training camp and during preseason, he was medically cleared to return to practice. But that meant he was able to, come back and, work on some drills, do everything like that. He wasn't necessarily ready for full contact. Now, where we are throughout the season, I think Trent Brown's health is maybe getting to a point where this Texans team said, hey, we have Blake Fisher as a swing tackle, and then we have an extra tackle in Trent Brown once he kind of gets up to snuff and is back at near 100% health for this squad. All those things I felt like led to the Texans once again trading Cam Robinson to the Cleveland Browns for a late round pick swap in 2027. Didn't really play for the Texans, but Cam Robinson, I wish you the best. I hope, safe travels and wish you nothing but health and prosperity moving forward. I mean, it was a short stint with the Houston Texans, but a decent one. He was a safety net guy for this team. He was signed this offseason just in case XYZ, the Texans didn't get a tackle. The Texans, got a tackle and he wasn't good enough. Cam Robinson was that fail-safe for the Houston Texans, and he played it perfectly, right? He, nothing against him. I know he probably is really excited to get traded. He wanted a chance to start, but as I mentioned, the Texans have Ursery, a young rookie second-round pick out of Minnesota who, if their talent is like this, like I said, and Cam Robinson is just slightly better than him, which I probably think Cam Robinson is maybe slightly better than Ursery right now, but you're betting on that upside. You're betting on Ursery getting better and better and better. You're betting on this rookie to, really pan out for you in the long run. And that's what the Texans are doing. They're playing the long game here, and hopefully after using a lot of their rookies in week 4, maybe they lean on some of the younger guys a little bit more. Woody Marks, Jaden Higgins, and Jalen Noel. Maybe they decide, hey, this is the youth movement for the Houston Texans, and we get some of these younger guys in, even though Texans already have a really young team, obviously. C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson Jr., Derek Stingley, all really young, but they have more young guys coming in through the system, and hopefully they can show out. All right, that's all I have for you on today's show, folks. We'll have more videos throughout the week. We have a live show on Wednesday as well, 3:30 Central Time, so don't miss out. My name is Jeremy Chuggs. You can give me a follow on X at Jeremy Chuggs. If you want to hit me up if you have any questions, just want to chop it up around the Houston Texans, my DMs are open. Everybody have a great day, and make sure you hit that subscribe button for more Texans news and rumors all year long.